Welcome into No Pun Intended, presented by Club Fantasy. I am your host, Joe Zolo, and today, well, it's a special day because we have a buddy of ours back from the draft show, but this is not your grandmother's fantasy football podcast this week, ladies and gentlemen, all right? The words will be flying.
Me, dude.
Yes. Well, grandmas do love Stoner, but it's all over the place this week. Things are going to slip. Words are going to be said. This is not a PG
Even
show,
I don't know where it's going to go.
If you haven't noticed yet, the special guest here is Fantasy Stoner, and joining me as always is Joshua Hudson and Ryan Weiss. How is everybody doing?
Fantastic when this beautiful bald head got on the screen.
Who? Talking about
Stoner?
me? Yeah.
Stoner has the beard. I have the mustache. This show is going to be perfect.
It's gonna be great.
All
It's
his
going to be
hair
wild
stopped,
for sure.
all his hair went south for the winter. So it's all
Yeah,
on
about
that luscious,
fucking
luscious
24
beard.
years ago it started doing that. So.
That luscious beard. But this is the last show of our team previews, and the reason we have Stoner on, he's a big Niners fan, so we're here talking Niners. And then, of course, we will also finish off with the Kansas City Chiefs, and then we're going to end the show with a little bit of what we like to call My Guys. So each one of us will be going through who we truly believe in coming into the 2020 season. And about 45 minutes into the show, we may have a little special guest here that Stoner's going to like. We at least think, and I'm sure everyone listening, everyone watching is going to like as well. Stoner clapping there.
Special guests, bro.
Yes. If you're listening to the podcast or on 97.3, be sure to join us live here Wednesday nights, especially for the next 4 weeks with our Women of Fantasy Football show. So you can interact
some
with
of my
us.
favorite people, too.
Yes, favorite people. And then if you're watching the live stream, don't forget you can also listen back to it anytime, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Before we get into anything, we'll go through some news and notes. Eagles head coach Doug Peterson has tested positive for COVID. He is asymptomatic. Sony Michel and Mohamed Sanu for the Patriots begin camp on the PUP, along with Browns receiver Jarvis Landry and Seahawks running back Rashad Penny. Stoner's 49ers have signed tight end Jordan Reed, which just retire, dude. You got too many concussions.
Look, man, that dude's money on third down. Leave him alone. We don't need him to play 90% of snaps, but if he can go out there and pull some coverage away from Kittle or some of the other guys underneath, and, he doesn't risk any more long-term, brain damage, I'm fine. I think we should just leave it to, like, hamstring jokes. It used to be just hamstrings.
I hate joking about concussions.
It's just not funny anymore. But the hamstring, that's what I said. I said, let's wheel him to the contract signing in a wheelchair so he doesn't pull a hammy before he fucking gets that coin.
I mean, Reed is a top-tier talent, one of the best receivers at the tight end position when he's healthy. So him and Kittle together will be dangerous if that comes to fruition. Dolphins wide receiver
can be dangerous.
Dangerous.
Let's not say will. Can be. I mean, Kittle's going to be fucking dangerous because he's fucking Kittle.
Yes. The Dolphins receivers Allen Hurns and Albert Wilson have opted out for the 2020 season.
That's big. That crushes their depth. I mean, they're not.
Albert Wilson would have got hurt anyway.
Albert Wilson's just going to get hurt after like 6 games anyway, and
right.
Hurns has kind of been fighting back after that one injury that he suffered in Dallas. But he's a reliable veteran. They obviously have a younger team, so. All this tells me is that Devontae Parker is just going to go off again if he's able to play all 16.
Poppin', baby.
Preston Williams.
Preston Williams, and Jasicki. I know, Josh, you've been talking Jasicki up, and this is huge for him. So
that opens it up.
Yep.
Also opens up Matt Breida out of the backfield as well. That definitely boosts him as well. And one thing that Josh did not add into the news and notes for the show notes, Captain America Gardner Minshew was put on the COVID reserve list, and then 48 hours was taken off of it because COVID was scared of him.
Yep, the greatest quote ever.
Yes.
Didn't the same thing happen with Stafford? He got a false negative or false positive.
His wife ripped into the line.
His wife was not happy.
Yeah, not happy at all. But you got to bring up Captain America. That's.
Of
I
course.
just wanted to bring up Gardner Minshew, and now
Sorry, guys.
I love the
my landscaper showed up at 4:00 on a fucking Wednesday.
I love that Minshew is a part of his own legend now. That Minshew was just like, COVID was afraid of me.
That's incredible.
I know he's pulling a Chuck Norris right now. Like, what the hell?
He's like,
I love
dude,
Gardner Minshew.
You couldn't get past the stash, bro. Come on.
Exactly.
You can't infect these jorts. I got these jorts, baby.
God, I love Gardner Minshew so much. All right,
it's hard not to. He's one of them dudes. He's just
really
one of them
is.
dudes.
He's the best.
He's
the best.
He's actually everything that Baker Mayfield thought he would be.
Yeah,
as far as the personality and likability goes.
And
I'm gonna be so upset if Minshew pulls a Baker in 2020, and then I'm just gonna be like, God damn it.
But you know what? We like him, so it's okay if he shits the bed.
Yeah.
We'll give him another
This is true.
chance.
Yeah, this is true.
But Baker was like super cocky prick, dude, and everybody hated him.
Yeah.
So when he shit the bed, we were like, "Oh yeah, fuck you, Baker."
You earned that one. Yeah,
you earned that. You earned that.
Like a very likable swag to him. So
well, and then Baker
like Baker though.
Baker put himself in such a bad situation in that Northeast Ohio already kind of hated him due to planting the flag in the O, and then to not perform, it's people turned on him very quickly.
Yeah. Like they would have respected him more if he had fucking planted the flag and then came out just guns blazing.
Exactly.
They were like, "All right, dude, you killed us, and now you're killing for us." So,
exactly.
Yeah, I still like Baker, dude. I mean, he's still young. I think I hope that he was humbled a little bit last year. Like, when Justin Bieber got a little older, he lost a little bit of that extra swagger and became a likable dude. He became a likable
100%. Yeah.
Still talented as hell, right? And I think Baker can have that same type of swing if he allows himself to be humbled by last year's performance.
So going into
Baker is the Justin Bieber of the NFL. Is really
that's perfect.
What's great from that?
Great reference.
It's a good comparison. All right, we'll get into Stoner's 49ers here. So going through the upside, downside, trust fall, rookie to watch, sleepers, and my IDP. So we'll start with the upside. Josh, you have Kendrick Bourne. Ryan, you have Raheem Mostert. On the opposite side, Josh, you're not a big fan of Mostert heading into the season. Ryan, you're not a fan of Debo. Trust fall, easily, George Kittle.
I love how you worded that, Joe. Now I really have to defend myself.
Yes, you do. Rookie to watch.
Let me grab the popcorn. We're watching.
Rookie to watch, you both have Brandon Ayuk out of Arizona State. My sleeper, I have Jalen Hurd, second-year guy out of Baylor. My IDP is Nick Bosa. That man is a scary guy off the edge. And as we head in quickly here, I saw the list. One of these stats I'm sure Josh might have put in here of the Shanahans are notorious for yo-yoing their running backs, and I just want to go through these unbelievable names that are on here. So obviously Kyle is the head coach of the 49ers. His father, Mike, a very prominent head coach in the NFL for years and years. His father,
I first want to say, before you get into this, you're totally stealing my argument here, and now I have to pivot. So thanks for that, Joe.
Josh, I saw Roy Halou, and I was like, Roy Halou? Maybe when's the last time I've heard Roy Halou in a sentence? Okay.
Literally on the Fantasy Footballers podcast when I listened to it today.
Oh, my God. So his father, Mike, in Denver from 03 to 08, had Clinton Portis, correct? You didn't put his first name, so Portis. Ruben Drowns or Drones? I don't know.
Ruben Drones.
Yeah. Yep. Mike Anderson, Tatum Bell, Travis Henry, and Michael Pittman. And then in Washington from 2010 to 2012, Ryan Terrain, Roy Halou, and Alfred Morris. What a cast of effing characters that is there.
Yeah, Portis was like the leading rusher for Denver in, I believe, 01, 02, and 03, and then they traded him.
Washington, right?
I believe so. No, I think Washington traded him to Denver, I thought. Or maybe it was one of the back. I can't remember. And then in 2012 and 13, Morris was the leading rusher in Washington. So they kind of bookended all of these one and done running backs. That's the system that Shanahan is running. I mean, when you look at, over the last 6 years that Kyle Shanahan has been calling plays, 3 of the last 6 years, one running back hasn't had more than 50% of the total rushes. So, I mean, it's a very hit or miss concept. So I understand like the ADP with Mostert, it's not super high, which is fine. You know, it's not a bad investment.
It was sneaking up a little bit.
Yeah, but it's like it's slowly starting to creep up. Like that, and that's why I'm not a big fan. Like I totally see the upside. Like the way that he finished the season, homeboy was cooking. And he was averaging 5.6 yards per rush. He was scoring touchdowns. Look, for whatever reason, Shanahan's not throwing to running backs the way that they did or when he was in Atlanta. Because they have Kittle, because they have these yards after the catch type wide receivers that they're piling into this rotation.
Yeah, Debo and Ayuk are going to take
and Kittle as well. Like they're just monsters after the catch. George Kittle led the NFL, and not just from tight ends, I believe, but tight ends and wide receivers. He led the league in yards after the catch.
And I think what we'll find out this year with a shortened potential preseason in camp is that those little short precision passes and the yards after the catch, I think, are going to have a bigger impact this year than anywhere. And I know I probably took another thing you were going to say.
No, that's huge too, because you're going to see sloppy tackling as well. Because you're not going to want to hit your guys in practice the way you would hit another guy. And so you're going to see a lot of sloppy tackling early on. And I think guys who can go after the catch are going to be huge this year.
Yeah,
most definitely. And Josh,
but look, Mostert, like he changed the fucking offense last year.
No, he really did.
The offense
his speed is something
dramatically
else.
different. And granted, Debo had also, the second half of the year, he was a much different player than he was the first half of the year. So it all came together. I find it difficult to believe that they would do the little restructure for him and let him fucking show out on Twitter if he didn't have a role. I expect him to get. I think you're right that it's going to be hard to assume he's going to get 50% of the touches or more. But he's going to be closer to 50% than any other running back on
the thing
team.
is, though, if he keeps the touchdown value that he had towards the ends of last year, he will be at minimum an RB2. Like,
I
mean, that's how you maintain that value.
I dug into that. If you look, he scored scored touchdowns in the last 6 games of the season. If you take those 6 games, he's going to finish as the RB8. Even if you get rid of half of his touchdowns, he's still going to finish as the RB14, and he's going off the board as the RB27 right now. You brought up a great point already, Josh. He only got, 26% of the carries last year and was still the RB26. You're buying him at 100% his floor, to where at this point, his ceiling is a top 10 running back, and he could be a league winner if he starts to see the Devontae Freeman share of that offense.
So
I don't know that RB27 is necessarily his floor, though. I mean, you're talking about a guy that only has 198 career touches, and he's starting the season at age 28. Like, sure, there's not a lot of tread on those tires, but this is a guy that teams just haven't trusted. So why all of a sudden are we going to trust him at the age of 28?
I think what we saw him do in that system, it's important to recognize that the kid has talent, no doubt. But just like Belichick can pull anybody in and kind of plug and play and get them to perform to a certain level, I think Shanahan is showing that he has that ability as well to a certain extent with running backs on offense. I mean, Kevin Coleman can't run the ball, dude. I'm sorry.
Oh, God, he was terrible last year.
As a Niner fan, I hate when he's in the backfield. I hate it. Granted, he'll bust out a long one every now and again.
He looked like he
was
running
a little hard, but at the end of the
year.
day, he's going to leave you with blue balls. I mean, that's it. I hate him.
All I gotta say, like, it just feels like, though, now that like they've restructured Jarek McKinnon, like it just like all I'm thinking is like, watch this guy just come out and explode when nobody's expecting it, because that's such a Shanahan thing to do.
But
I have
McKinnon
on almost on more rosters on my sleeper league than just about anyone.
Yeah, I mean, he's a late round dart throw. He's absolutely free. Remember, this was the guy that Shanahan initially handpicked to be the guy for them. Now, if he's presumably healthy, what's to stop Shanahan from saying, after one bad play from Mostert, all right, McKinnon, you're my guy. Get in there. Especially if he wants to start throwing to the running backs, because that's what McKinnon does well.
I think it will take time for McKinnon to become that guy, but I could see him having a season like Kamara did a few years ago, his rookie year, when he slowly progressed and got more touches, and then half the year came and he just exploded. I could see something like that happening if he truly is healthy, but he's got to get his own confidence back. Shanahan's not just going to give him the ball. He needs to get out there and take hits before he can just become that guy. But I could see him carving out a solid role. They didn't trade Matt Breida for nothing. Granted, Joe, they needed to pick, but
I say, Joe, I know you want to jump in, but there's two quick things I want to throw out. First of all, Josh, one of your arguments against Mostert is that he's 28. Jerick McKinnon is 28 and hasn't played in 2 years.
Got him.
And then Mostert, we're looking at the end of the season, playoffs, 336 yards and 5 touchdowns. I think he's established what he is in this offense. 55% of the carries during the playoffs, and I know playoff football is a little different from regular season football, but I think Shanahan's told us what he is, and I think we should just believe Shanahan.
So we all know what happens on this show when there's a disagreement on if someone should be taken somewhere. Stoner, I know you're,
I'm not getting in the ring with Stoner. Stop that shit.
It's not a.
You want to talk about pancake blocks?
My real last name is Edge. They named the wrestler after me. So.
Oh God, I'm in trouble.
Nice. Well, we're not getting in the ring, but we will play the old classic game of Would You Rather. The classic game here on No Pun Intended. Originated on No Pun Intended.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Never played
Thanks
anywhere
for the backup,
before.
Ryan.
Patent pending.
Yes, patent pending. All right, so Raheem Mostert's currently going, according to Fantasy Pros and PPR leagues, as the RB28. So he's currently a high to mid RB3 is where he is going. So with that in mind, we're going to play a game of who would you rather as your RB3, comparing Raheem Mostert, who's at RB28, to guys listed between RB25 and RB30. All right, so it's very simple. I'll start with Josh, give it to Ryan, and then we'll end on Stoner. So we'll start here. Josh, who would you rather, Raheem Mostert at RB28 or David Montgomery at RB25? Josh.
I have Montgomery higher, but if we're talking RB3, I know the upside that Mostert provides, so I would probably invest in Mostert over Montgomery.
Ryan.
Mostert.
Stoner.
I'm a Niner fan, so I'm going to say Mostert. So, but I do like David Montgomery. I like him. I liked him last year. Even I think I had him ranked higher than Jacobs. I had Sanders, Montgomery, and Jacobs. And I think volume-wise, he's good. I won't touch on the other backfield mate because I know somebody's going to talk about him later. But I think that there is a kind of a cap on his touches. So. But as an RB3, I would be happy with either one of those as an RB3.
It's true.
Most definitely.
Radio Raheem's that dude. I'm taking him.
There you go.
All right. At RB26, Mark Ingram or Raheem Mostert? Josh.
Oh, I will take Ingram all day. J.K. Dobbins does not scare me for 2020. And I like the touchdown upside with Ingram, I think, is so much higher than it is with Mostert.
Ryan.
I'll take the guy who scored 11 touchdowns in his last 9 games, Raheem Mostert.
Stoner.
I'm gonna go Ingram there. That's just safer. If I'm feeling risky and maybe had a few cocktails, I'd probably take Raheem over him. But realistically, I think Ingram is a safer pick.
I forgot to give my Montgomery Mostert pick. I'll also take Mostert in that matchup, and then with Mostert and Ingram, I'll also take Mostert again. I do want to wrap around to the fact that Josh brought up Mostert's age, and Mark Ingram's 31. So I just want to bring that up. I just want to bring that
ages, bro. I'm sitting here 42 with a white beard.
Yes, but Ingram has been more consistent throughout his career. That's the difference.
Ingram was also injured last year.
I just would like to say I am not an ageist. Damn it! Stop making me
ageist.
I believe that J.K. Dobbins is going to make an impact this year.
Oh, I'm not saying he's not going to make an impact, but Ingram has always been efficient throughout his career. He's done it with less touches.
Yeah, that offense is just too powerful running the ball to not want to.
No, I could very easily see a scenario where 4 players on that Ravens offense have more than 100 carries.
Yeah,
between Jackson, Dobbins, Ingram, and even Edwards.
I'm still a Gus Edwards fan.
Gus Bus, baby.
Love Edwards.
I was snagging Gus everywhere in Dynasty startups, and then they draft Dobbins.
Yeah.
And fucking just ruined it for me. Like, come on. He was a great late-round pick before they took Dobbins.
He was.
But Dobbins is going to be I think he's a top 15 running back in 2021.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, back-to-back guys here at RB27. Cam Akers of the Los Angeles Rams or Raheem Mostert, Josh?
I do have Akers higher, but I think I would take Mostert. I really just have no idea how they're going to utilize the Rams backfield. I would like to think that they're going to do what they did originally with Gurley, but I really just don't know at this point. So I'll take Mostert.
Ryan?
The Rams came out and said something like they were going to try to copy what the Niners did, but I'll still take Mostert. So
Stoner.
Yeah, I agree completely with everything that's been said already. And I love Akers. I think that kid has the ability to eat in that offense.
He could be a stud in this league.
And I mean, Henderson's not bad, but I think Akers is a baller, dude. I think in a couple of years, we're going to look back at this running back class and be fucking amazed at how good they are.
I mean, listen, Akers isn't getting any better of an offensive line than he had in college. The Rams' offensive line is garbage.
Right, but they're also professional athletes rather than college athletes.
Yeah, but professionals going against other professionals who are better than them. Stoner, they have to face the Niners twice a year. Have you seen their defensive line?
Nah, he's going to get destroyed against my squad. That's one thing, but... I mean,
but those other 14 games.
Yeah, those other 14 games, that kid's going to eat. No, I that's why, man. That's why I said a couple years. I did say when we look back in a few years, I think it's going to be a rough 2020 season for a lot of these rookies. Clyde is getting his love, and I'm still rookie 1-1 is JT. For me. He's got that Jersey blood, so I got to stay riding with the Jersey homie. I got a funny story. When I was in high school, I played against his high school. I mean, obviously he wasn't there, but I played against Salem High School, and we actually got into a brawl right before halftime with their team and their fans. It was ridiculous. As we had to get a police escort out of there. They were throwing bricks and cinder blocks and shit at our buses. It was gnarly. We won that game.
That sounds so on brand for the state of New Jersey. Like that just, to me, you think New Jersey, it's high school football fights.
I feel like you and I need to fight for that. I mean,
listen,
disrespect, bro.
I'm from New Hampshire. It's just, live free or die.
I'm sorry. We should talk about the lacrosse games then.
I actually hate lacrosse.
Dude, but the rest of you guys up there, you guys fucking love it, bro.
That lacrosse craze was.
That is the rich white dude's sport, if there ever is one.
It's that and golf. So,
best lacrosse player of all time, Jim Brown. That's what he went to Syracuse for.
I love that. That's great and spot on.
Yep.
All right. Awesome.
What do we got? Cam Akers is not gonna do better than Raheem. I think that's where we were at.
All right, and then so the next thing is 28 is Mostert, 29 Kareem Hunt or Raheem Mostert is your RB3, Josh.
Oh, Kareem Hunt. He has standalone value in that offense. He's so dynamic out of the backfield.
Ryan.
Close for me, but I'm still going Mostert.
Stoner.
I'm going to take Mostert in a redraft, and Kareem Hunt might sneak in a best ball, but I don't know. It depends on who my first two running backs would be in best ball. But I do love Hunt, just like Josh said. I think he does have a role.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's running a lot of routes out of the slot, especially if Landry's hip injury is as severe as they're starting to make it out to be.
I think Landry's going to be fine, dude.
No, I think he'll be fine as well, but
I agree that you're going to see him even early on probably get some run out of that just to get Landry some rest if he is still coming back from it. But I like Hunt. I mean, he's just a valuable player, dude. And everybody knows it. I mean, when he has the ball in his hands, he's just
he's a piece of shit human, but he's a good football player.
Valuable player. Piece of shit human. That's why I choose my words wisely.
Yeah.
I had to preface that because Lauren's here in the comments and she's like, Josh, no. And I know exactly what she was referring to.
Lauren, relax. Is that my surprise at 45 minutes?
No,
it's not Lauren. No. It's not Lauren. Although it would be a good surprise if it was Lauren. All right. And
would be the best surprise, obviously. The best.
And okay.
I'm going to tell our guest you said that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I hope it's the only thing. All right. Well, whatever.
Whatever.
I'm a glutton for punishment, dude.
Bring it on. All right.
Thank you.
So last one before we head into our little Chiefs Niners debate here. I'm going to skip 30 and 31. I'm going to go to 32.
Why?
Because 32 is more interesting to me.
Okay.
Raheem Mostert or James White? Josh.
Ooh. I think I would go White. I really do. I don't trust. I mean, I have them 2 spots apart. I have White at 30. I have Mostert at 32. But I can see a scenario where White has 115 targets this year.
Easy. Ryan.
Anything less than full PPR, I would go Mostert. But in a full PPR league, which is what we care about on this show, give me James White all day long.
Stoner.
That's a really tough one. I like James White.
That's why he jumped.
Especially now that Cam is there. I mean, obviously, if you asked, a month ago, the answer is easy.
Yeah.
I'm still going to go with Mostert.
It's definitely close, though. It really is.
Yeah, it is close. It is very close.
Because
I'm thinking maybe if I was a little sketchy about my RB2, I might go with White just to get that. I don't know, feel maybe safe about that receiving floor or something. But I don't know. I think Raheem's gonna be the 50% guy that we've been waiting for Shanahan to have this year. And maybe it's going to be 49.5 and we can round up and just call it 50.
I love it.
But I like that. We'll call it that. I'm going to go by Radio Raheem. Yeah,
Radio Raheem. I'm going James White. Stoner said if it was a month ago and Stidham was the starter, I would lean Mostert. Not because I don't still think James White is probably a top 24 running back. I just think
I love James White too, man.
He's one of the most underrated running backs in fantasy.
Love James White.
You asked me in a week, I might change my answer. To be honest, like that's that type of question that I might change my answer. Who were 30 and 31? Who did you skip? Just throw the names out.
Yeah,
so we don't have to answer it, but I'm just curious.
30 was Ronald Jones, and 31 was Darius Geis.
That's another tough one. Rojo's easy. I'm easily going Mostert.
Yeah.
But Geis is a tough one.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, if you believe that Geis is healthy, I think he has a shot at top 15 this year.
Easy,
bro. He's a baller when he plays.
He's so good. Beast. His first run in the NFL, he stiff-armed 2 people and spun-moved 2 others in a preseason game against the Pats.
And laughed about it. Like this is regular. I love that dude.
Like,
bro. I'm a huge fan.
That was the most electric run I've ever seen in a preseason game, and it was his first carry.
Yeah.
If Geis is healthy, he is scary. That is a scary, scary running back. It's just simply.
Yeah, I remember when the team formerly known as the Redskins drafted him. As an Eagles fan, I was just like, son of a bitch. This is not good. It legitimately scared me.
All right. So now heading into the Chiefs real quick here. We're not going to talk too much about the Chiefs. We are going to do a little player focus.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I like
why you're on the show, Stoner.
Yeah. So you guys touched on rookies to watch out for on the Niners.
Sure.
And I know it seems standard to say, let's talk about an offensive guy. But I think it's important that we discuss Javon Kinlaw for just a second.
Oh, he's a stud on the interior.
Big boy.
He is a beast. I love him. But he is replacing DeForest Buckner, who is an all-pro.
You guys did just sign Deion Jordan today, too, to add some depth on end.
Yeah, so I think that it's important to recognize that they did fill a void by grabbing Kinlaw that is going to help make their defense potentially better, or at least keep it at the same level, which I think we do. I think we often don't recognize the offensive linemen or the defensive players that get drafted and the impact that has on the fantasy side of things. But
that's true.
Having that great defense means that our offensive players get more possessions, right?
Well, and I think that's
Definitely.
what helped you guys run the ball 498 times.
Exactly.
And that was my other talk, is that we still have a solid defense. So our running game and our short passes to Kittle and Ayuk and Debo are still going to be extremely valuable, which makes also, I think, Jimmy G, who gets a lot of hate for not being able to win the big game. The kid started one season, and he took us to the goddamn Super Bowl, right? Like, he played one full season, and he took us to the Super Bowl. So let's give him a little bit of credit to try to expand his growth in this offense. And I think that they did a great job on both sides of the ball, including the trade for Trent Williams. And the Niners overall are going to be fantastic.
Stoner, I love you, buddy, but Jimmy did not take them to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was
Green
just
Bay
about
Packers
to say that.
defense gifted them the Super Bowl. Jimmy threw the ball 8 times in the NFC Championship game. You could have played quarterback, and the 49ers would have won.
But it wouldn't have looked as good as him, and I'm a damn sexy motherfucker.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to knock Jimmy.
Your quarterback takes you to the Super Bowl. Even when the Ravens won with Trent Dilfer took them to the Super Bowl. You know
but
what
Trent
I mean?
Dilfer's the worst quarterback to ever win the Super Bowl.
Their Super Bowl run.
We understand that Jimmy G wasn't the MVP, but I'm just using the sports lingo that the listeners understand.
Listen, I still think the jury's out on
Kittle
Jimmy.
and the defense took us to the fucking Super Bowl.
But
yes,
but from a fantasy standpoint, give Jimmy G.
He also carried the Saints for the ride, just in case.
Well, I was gonna say, just to give
he knew
Jimmy,
they weren't coming.
Yeah.
To give Jimmy G some fantasy love, they threw the ball 4th least in the NFL last year. He was 5th in touchdown passes and was the QB 14.
Efficient. He was very efficient. I'll give him credit for that.
It helps when
and
you
in
have
the
George
Scott
Kittle
Fishbowl,
as a
he's going to be
threat.
a top 10 quarterback this year in the Scott Fishbowl scoring. For those of you playing in that league who were lucky enough to draft him.
All right, so quickly going through here, we're going to have a little 10-minute debate, but to go through the upside, downside.
Ryan's over here. Hey, me!
I got Jimmy G. I win.
Find that guy.
All right, so quickly through the Chiefs here. The upside, Josh and Ryan both have Mecole Hardman. Downside, Josh, you have Patrick Mahomes, and that's simply because just of where he's being taken. That's just the standard on this show here. Don't take quarterbacks too high. Ryan, you have CEH as your downside, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Trust fall, you both have Travis Kelce. Rookie to watch, you both have CEH. My sleeper is Sammy Watkins. Don't draft Sammy Watkins, but there's no one else on this team. I chose Byron freaking Pringle last year as my sleeper. Take Byron Pringle. My IDP.
The Lizard King.
I love Byron Pringle. My IDP, I have Tyrann Mathieu, absolute stud. Love the Honey Badger. Can't say enough about how good I feel Tyrann Mathieu is. But the big thing we're going to go through here is the Chiefs' offense speaks for itself. You have the best quarterback in the league who can throw the ball the entire length of the field. He can do whatever the hell he wants to. The big debate that pisses me off is that everyone thinks Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the league. Now, Stoner, before you butt in, because we obviously know that we know your stance. I'm
not saying anything until you call me. Go ahead.
I don't get it because, okay, if you want to strictly say in fantasy football Kittle's the better tight end, you have an argument. You have a valid argument just because of how good Kelce has been in fantasy almost his entire career. When you're talking tight end, half of their job is catching the football. Kelce is very good at that. Kittle is also very good at that. The other half of their job is blocking.
If I knew how to make goat sounds, I'd be making goat sounds every time you said Kittle's name.
When it comes to blocking, George Kittle is another offensive lineman. George Kittle, like if you were to put Gronkowski in his prime in the NFL right now, you'd say Gronkowski's the best blocking tight end, then it's Kittle, and then it's everybody else. Because Kittle is the best blocking tight end, in my opinion, in the NFL right now. He doesn't care. That's the best part about it. It's not even close. So the debate of Kelce versus Kittle is not even close. I'm sorry, Chiefs fans. I'm sorry, Chiefs homers. I'm sorry, Travis Kelce lovers. Kelce is an arrogant asshole. George Kittle's an actual football player. Okay? George Kittle is an unreal specimen at the tight end position. He's also a better receiver, in my opinion. He's a better route runner. He's a better red zone target. Like, all around better.
I'll never forget that time when I won a fantasy championship on George Kittle's pancake block points.
Hey, Ryan.
Man,
Ryan?
if your fantasy team and your league gives points for pancakes, I actually want in on that. I'm not even gonna lie. Like that sounds like something I want to get involved in.
That's fun.
Go ahead, Stoner. You're up. You have the mic.
Look, I'm clearly like the biggest George Kittle homer in the history of fucking homers. I consider him to be old school. And in my old school fashion, I'm going to whip out this 40 ounce of Mickey's because it's about as badass as George Kittle is.
Pour one out for George Kittle.
Look, number wise, they're very similar.
Yes.
If you extend Kittle's numbers last year over 16 games, he probably has more touchdowns than Kelce. He's clearly a better run blocker than Kelce. Let's keep it real. I know that Travis Kelce doesn't pass block very often, but when he does happen to stay in, he is very good at pass blocking. He is not the best run blocker in the world, which is surprising considering how good his brother is at center. Like, at the end of the day, you're not making a bad choice. If you chose Kelce or Kittle in your redraft leagues or your best ball, you're getting the two top players at a thin position. But, long term and overall and just watching football, George Kittle is clearly the better player. I don't know. There's something about George Kittle that is so – and look, I don't hate Travis Kelce. I think he's great. I think he brings great energy. He is a cocky little prick, but being a guy with Jersey blood, like, I love that. Like, I appreciate him dancing in the end zone when he scores. I love him singing songs with the Lombardi in it after he won because I would do that too. And he's good enough that he's earned the right. But like you started out this talk, he plays with the best quarterback in the fucking world right now.
Yeah.
On an offense with one of the top 4 or 5 receivers in the world right now. And one of the best coaches in the history of football calling the fucking plays. And I got a guy who plays tight end and is our number 1 receiver. But he's also one of our best blockers. And he's clearly our number 1 cheerleader. And there's not a person in the world that hates George Kittle unless their team is playing him that day.
That's fact.
So, look, I don't hate Travis Kelce. I would never not want to have him on my fucking fantasy team because that dude plays on the best offense I've seen in God knows how long. But at the end of the day, I'm rooting for the people's tight end. The old school.
Can I just point out something really quick?
The GOAT, George Kittle, baby.
He's not the GOAT
I just want to point something out really quick. I know people have things to say when it comes to like pro football focus grading systems and things like that. George Kittle over the last.
This one right.
I would just like to say a tight end in the NFL who has had a higher run blocking grade than George Kittle the last 2 years, Philadelphia's Dallas Goedert. I just wanted to throw that out there because homeboy's the future. So
should we talk about the video of his glass jaw?
Oh, I know, right? Good God, that was terrible.
Sleeping
he
from taking a trip to a bar,
taking a nap.
Yeah, that was not a good look, but that was a straight up clear sucker punch though. It was a horrible punch. That was bad. Oh my God,
garbage human being. But you're also 6'6", Dallas, and you're clearly, according to PFF, the best run blocking tight end in football, and you couldn't take a punch.
Well, to be fair, he has a face mask on Sundays.
Well, then he needs to go out like that.
Yeah.
So he doesn't go out like that.
That was good right there. That was a good little.
That's what I do, bro.
Yeah, that was nice.
No, I mean, in terms I look at it this way when talking about the two in fantasy, like it's pretty clear that both of them are 1A and 1B at this point.
Yeah.
Like
there's no
if
question.
you're starting an NFL team, I would take Kittle over Kelsey, and I don't think that's close.
They are not 1A and 1B in fantasy, though. Kittle's had 2 good years, and Kelsey outscored him 68 points over those 2 good years.
He's only played 3 years. Like,
but I'm just comparing. I'm comparing his 2 good seasons.
Receiving record in one of them. I mean, what more can he do in those 3 years?
He only played 14 games in 2018. All right,
and
so
and only had 1,053 yards.
Oh,
George Kittle set the record for most receiving yards amongst tight ends
and scored 5 touchdowns that season.
I wish my quarterback threw for 5,000 yards.
All day long.
I wish.
Except
I wish my
Dynasty.
running game wasn't so good that we could just throw for 5,000 yards.
And that's perfect, but it's still fantasy football.
Right. And if you look at the averages over the last 3 years, I bet you they're pretty close to the same. I bet you their catches are right around, probably within 5 to 7 catches of each other. The yards might be, I'm sure Kittle has 150, 120 less yards per season than Kelsey, but he's also played less games and he plays on an offense that doesn't throw as much. They also had the same number of touchdowns last year. And we played less games.
Kelsey had one more because he did have one that was counted as a rushing.
He already had the same number of receiving touchdowns. I'll use the words Joshua. But look, I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's right in that it's 1A and 1B. But I think the big picture is if you're taking one of these dudes, you're taking them in the second round.
Exactly.
So you're taking these guys over running backs, potentially guys like Miles Sanders or a Josh Jacobs, or
you have to plan your whole draft around getting one of them.
Exactly.
So. Right.
All right.
So I mean that. Go ahead.
All right, real quick. So we told you, Stoner, that we had a nice little surprise for you, and since we've been talking about our Women of Fantasy Football event, I wanted to actually bring on one of the guests.
I see your comment, and now I know who it is.
Why would you say it?
So welcome, Jen Piacenti. We saw how to pronounce the last name part of it.
Yes.
So.
Well, I heard Stoner was going to be here, and I thought, hey, I can't miss this because we live maybe 30 minutes apart, and we've yet to actually meet. So if this is as close as we can get for now, in COVID-19, this is what we're going to do.
There you
go. We have to live up to our title that Tommy Garrett gave us as the Tinder of Fantasy Football Podcast. Yes. So this is what we do. We bring people together.
Oh, I see.
Jen, it's nice to finally meet you.
It's nice to meet you.
Jen is my favorite. She's absolutely amazing. You guys are in for a treat when she jumps in.
Oh, I'm super excited. It's going to be awesome.
Well, that's very kind. I'm going to come back all the time if you guys are going to be this nice to me. You're doomed.
Oh,
yeah. We'll always happily.
She does not give herself enough credit. And if you play fantasy baseball, she's the one to go to. Because
so far, won all my bets for today. Definitely took the over on that Yankees-Phillies game, and I took the Phillies for a win. Nobody trusts me like that anymore.
I should suggest, though, if she tells you to draft any Mets on your team, do not do that. Because the guys that she's been pumping up have completely shit the bed for my team. One of them quit.
One of them quit.
Oh,
I can't control you.
One of them quit.
You know,
wow.
And quit without telling his team.
You know what?
He just said, "I'm done."
Weird.
But I did that because I knew how much you like Dom Smith, and now Dom has a chance. See?
There you go.
I'm
still working for you,
Smith, dude.
Wow.
I appreciate that. I think you're just saying that now because you know.
I will say I haven't played fantasy baseball in years, but I have been watching your videos on Instagram.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Lots of fun for me. I love it. How lucky am I that I get to do fantasy baseball and fantasy football like all the time? Like,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Yeah, it's the dream.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that shirt from, Jen?
I got this shirt from RotoWear. I bet you guys might have one too. Probably not in this size because this is actually child size. I think I Seriously, I actually had to ask
that's
them.
the same size that Jack is wearing.
Probably.
My 11-year-old has the same shirt and wore it on Saturday.
It's actually the same
that's
shirt. We're actually sharing the same
Yeah.
shirt, Jack and I.
I overnighted it to her. She's got it today. Are you back? You're back in LA, right, Jen?
Yeah, I'm here. It's a beautiful day.
It's always
Sorry,
a
East
beautiful day.
Coasters.
I was telling them earlier.
It's been overcast
how,
all day today. It sucks.
Yeah.
How the people here in Southern California stopped caring about the coronavirus.
It's kind of
We
true.
were talking about that earlier. Yeah. That's why Jen and I we haven't been able to have drunk brunch yet.
And I love
Not
it.
yet.
You two are instantly responsible, like examples.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
We are.
responsible examples
That's
we
right.
have here on the
I
show.
don't want to get sick.
We don't want you to get sick.
And we don't want,
Yeah,
exactly. We don't want anybody to get sick.
Exactly.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So what made you guys bring Jen on the show?
Well, for a couple reasons. One, we knew you were going to be on.
Yeah.
And Jen was like, "Oh my God, I love Stoner." I said, "Oh, I'm so making this happen." But
Jen is my favorite.
As most people that are watching the show or that listen to us regularly know, we've been hyping up our Women of Fantasy Football event. It starts next week as our very first show. Jen will be on with us during our second show on the 19th. I believe it's 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
But one thing that we are doing that we're going to put out a big graphic for after the show, actually, we're doing a corresponding charity drive. So
Awesome.
we are raffling off items. So this week we're raffling off a Ultimate Draft Kit from the Fantasy Footballers.
Okay.
We're raffling off a signed Dallas Cowboys Blake Jarwin jersey.
Yep.
And a
Who the hell
signed.
wants any Cowboys stuff?
There's a
Who
couple
would want
people.
that?
There's a couple
Do
people.
you want any Cowboys stuff, Jen?
And a signed Ohio State University Robert Smith jersey. So
If anybody doesn't remember him, Robert Smith won me multiple fantasy.
he won quite a few people
playing for the Vikings, dude.
Exactly.
That dude could ball.
Exactly. So every week, what we're
He was
doing
a
is
little
we're
too
going to have.
religious for me in his interviews, so I didn't watch him interview, but he was super dope as a running back.
So each week we're going to have different items, and when we do the show next week, and our first guest is going to be Liz Loza from Yahoo Fantasy.
Killer first guy.
Liz, the queen.
During the show, we are going to announce the winners of those items, and we'll do it. We'll kind of tier it out throughout the show. You can go to our website, www.clubfantasyffl.com. You'll see a big graphic right up front, Women of Fantasy Football. We're taking donations on our GoFundMe. If you go straight to GoFundMe, all you have to do is search Women of Fantasy Football. Each item has a tier price. So if you donate that tier price, you are automatically entered to win that item. We will then do the raffle, and all of the money that we're raising is going towards Women's Sports Foundation, I believe it's called.
Yep.
But their whole entire goal is
I know them. Women in sports, they're great.
correct. So their whole thing is, encouraging women to get involved in sports at an early age and helping them throughout their careers, and whether it's in sports or outside of sports, whatever it may be. We want to shine a light on women, not only in the fantasy industry, but in sports in general. And ultimately what we want to do is however much we can raise is great, but we want to make this an annual event. We want to be able to bring in women across all different sports and genres, whatever, and let them tell their stories, highlight them in their careers, and just let guys know that they don't have to be threatened by women that actually know what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to sports.
Hell yeah.
So
yeah,
wanted to be able to do that with Jen on because I think it's awesome. Because
Kind of makes it more fun. I mean, honestly,
Right?
to be able to talk about your fantasy football team with your girlfriend instead of her being annoyed and that you're going to hang out with your friends, it's the way to go, right?
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna keep us all from getting yelled at from stepmom Lauren. The show will be hosted. Me, Joe, and Josh are gonna take it.
All right. We have for sign stuff, a Cam Akers football, a Vinny Testaverde's Miami Hurricanes jersey, a Frank Gore Miami Hurricanes jersey signed.
What?
Yeah, I mean,
Darius,
that could also be an
Where
antique.
you at, baby?
oh yeah. Darius Geis LSU jersey signed.
I'm going to get Darius Geis to pay for that. I'm going to get him to buy his own jersey.
And a Kenny Galladay signed Lions jersey.
Oh, shit.
A few other things. We have a 6-month RotoViz subscription courtesy of Sam Wallace. So thank you, Sam. A Dynasty Trades HQ.
Hold on. Can we pause?
Go ahead.
Sam Wallace has less than. Sorry, I was mixing him up.
Yeah.
Sam is fantastic.
He is awesome. We've had him on our show a couple times.
He often engages with everybody at the Undroppables. And I just want to reach out to him or say hi to him. We fucking love that dude.
He is awesome.
Probably the most likable dude in fantasy Twitter.
Yeah, I'm fully convinced that he was a Care Bear in his past life.
He doesn't have a mean bone in his body.
And we know that Jen, if you didn't know, Jen loves Care Bears.
I do.
I did not know that.
If you didn't just see her start smiling when you mentioned Care Bears,
I did.
She perked up exquisite a lot, dude. Yeah.
I am a Care Bear in Scott Fishbowl, and I am taking that.
Are you really?
Down. Yes. Hugs a lot.
Dude,
bringing it down.
She requested the Care Bear division.
Okay. I did request the Care Bear division.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. And then
she's gonna win that division too. I feel bad for everybody.
Yeah, I do too.
And then 2 last things. We have a Dynasty Trades HQ hoodie to raffle off as well.
Courtesy of Shane Manillo. Shout out to Shane for donating that to us.
You're not going to tell the last gift, are you?
I hope not. Joey, don't spoil it.
The last one?
I wouldn't spoil the big one.
Oh, don't spoil the surprise now.
Listen, Lauren said to throw it out there, but I won't. Stoner says no, I'm not going to do it.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
I mean,
we gotta build the anticipation.
All right,
what is it? Is it drunk brunch with Stoner? Is that the prize? And can there be a tandem bicycle ride involved?
Oh.
Camera nearby?
No,
Stoner, if you're up for donating to it, bring it. We'll do it. We'll raffle the hell out of that.
There will be no tandem bicycle rides, Jen.
Oh, we love that. Oh, and I see from our buddy at hold on. From our buddy, it's my God, no! It keeps hitting the wrong one because there's something refreshed. Okay, from Fantasy Go NFL, he says he's happy to donate some Fantasy Go credit as well. So
Dave, we're coming out here, brother.
Yep.
Dave was on the show a few weeks ago. Awesome guest. Dave will reach out to you after this. But what we want to get into here to wrap up our show is we have our My Guys for 2020. So we each have a quarterback, a running back, a receiver.
Jen, you able to stick around? Because I know you said only about 15 minutes. Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Jen, you're going to like my quarterback, so you stick around.
Oh, I know who it is. I know who it is.
I'll throw a name out there, and I'm going to let her talk about him.
There you go. I love it.
So we'll run through, and Jen, feel free. I know on the show notes, I don't see any of your guys on here, but feel free to
I don't think we sent her the show notes. I
can comment on y'all guys.
Yeah, go in. So, all right, so here's what we got. So for quarterback, Stoner has Matt Stafford. Josh, you have Carson Wentz. Ryan, you have Tom Brady. Myself, I have Daniel Jones. And since Stoner, you said Jen really likes Matt Stafford. Jen, elaborate.
I think her and I are on the same page on Stafford. Yeah. If I'm wrong, she'll tell me.
I do like Matt Stafford a lot. I wonder now if if the secret's kind of out on Matt Stafford, so maybe it's not as tantalizing as it was when I first started really touting Matt Stafford, but his 8.2 yards per attempt were a career high in his 9 games last year, and he was on pace for a 5,000-yard season. Now, I know we can't just take this 5,000 on pace and just believe that's what's going to happen, but he was the highest in the NFL in depth of target, and don't forget that he's done this before. Back in 2011, he threw for over 5,000 yards with 41 touchdowns. He's got a healthy receiving core. He's got Marvin Jones, Kenny Galladay. He's got some talent, maybe DeAndre Swift here now too. I mean, like, you've got a lot of talent there. I just feel like
don't forget the Hawk, baby. Don't forget the TJ.
Don't forget TJ Hawkinson. Yeah, so there's a lot of opportunity there, and I think that people just forget about Matt Stafford because he was out. They're worried that he's an injury risk. To me, that's someone with a really high ceiling that you can target later in your drafts. Now, again, as I said, that the earlier and earlier people are taking him, the less and less I'm a huge fan of Matt Stafford, but where he is right now is good. I wouldn't take him ahead of Matt Ryan. I think some people are starting to go a little bit that far, but if you're waiting and you're like, hey, I'm waiting late, and you can still get Matt Stafford. Oh yeah, Give me so much of that.
And
So
if
much.
Right
of that.
now, Stafford's ADP is at QB 13. Matt Ryan's at QB 8, according to Fantasy Pros.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And if
I think for me, a big thing is Kenny G.
yeah,
I think we got to remember and look at what Kenny G did last year with garbage at the quarterback position. Like he played well. So you have to understand that he is going to excel. So I also love him this year, but as long
and
as
he's
Matty,
a jump ball machine too.
Yeah.
Well, just throw it up. Holiday's coming down with it.
That offense is going to be filthy. I love DeAndre Swift. I love T.J. Hawkinson. I just hope Matt Patricia doesn't fuck it up.
And if Swift jumps into that role that Theo Riddick used to have for that offense, it's going to be so good for Swift and so good for Stafford.
Swift is going to be Theo Riddick and Kerryon Johnson's running ability. Like he's better than both of them, dude.
I'm here for it.
He's that guy.
I loved me some Theo Riddick when he was in that offense. I love Theo.
I'm a Notre Dame fan that grew up in Jersey, bro. Just like Theo Riddick, Jersey kid that went to Notre Dame. I love that dude.
Theo, baby. All right. Going on to the running backs here, we'll highlight someone from each list, and we'll go highlight Josh's guy here. But first, Stoner, you like Jordan Howard. Josh, you like Melvin Gordon on a new team with the Denver Broncos.
Howard Bender also loves Jordan Howard, I heard.
Yes, he does. Howard Bender is single-handedly employing Jordan Howard through all his fantasy.
I love
Unbelievable.
He is increasing his ADP week by week.
Like, yes, it's all Howard Bender.
Ryan, you're a big fan of Tariq Cohen heading into the season. And myself, I am a huge James White fan as long as Cam Newton starts. And Josh,
you
like
can't
I said,
just have a caveat, Joe.
Nope.
You can't just throw,
Nope, gotta.
You can't be like the Astros and just throw an asterisk on your champion.
Nope.
You know, how long did we go? What was the over-under on how long it would take to have an Astros joke?
It's been 14 minutes.
Wait, Jen, are you an Astros fan?
Yes, I'm an Astros fan. Come at me, guys. Come at me.
Jen, Red Sox
I've
fan.
already started coming at you. What are you...
Jen, I'm a Red Sox fan. I said a while ago, right, if this season was going to happen, that Waste Management should sponsor should sponsor the MLB in general, and they just bring tiny trash cans that people, bang on, but alas, no fans.
No fans.
Okay, Josh, we'll get to your Melvin Gordon, but I want to start with Jen here. So, Jen, what are your thoughts? Yeah, because screw you, Josh. Jen, what are your thoughts?
I will cede the floor to Jen all day.
Fantastic.
It's okay.
Jen, how do you feel about Melvin Gordon in a brand new system?
I'm okay with Melvin Gordon, but he's not someone I'm targeting. Maybe third round I would take him, but I think there's other competition there. And let's not forget about Phillip Lindsay. Phillip Lindsay isn't dead. He's a 1,000-yard rusher still. And Melvin Gordon could get injured. He's a little bit of an injury prone. I mean, not majorly, but I'm just not a huge Melvin Gordon guy. I would rather have Gurley than Gordon. And I know that's, maybe a bit of a hot take. Everyone's sure it's going to be Melvin Gordon, but
it's a correct take.
I think another important thing to remember is that his tackle just opted out for the season as well, Melvin Gordon.
Well, Jawan James didn't play last year either.
Yeah. But still, I mean, we still have to recognize that it doesn't mean he wasn't going to get some play this year.
No, it's true.
I
mean,
they built their team assuming he'd be there.
No, absolutely. They did. Yeah. I mean, I get that. I mean, for me with Gordon, he's got a nose for the end zone. I did a whole entire article on this a few weeks back on clubfantasyffl.com.
Is it on the internet? Then it must be true.
It is, exactly. He's got a nose for the end zone. He knows how to find it. He basically was the red zone guy in San Diego, LA with the Chargers. He's the receiving guy. Phillip Lindsay struggles as a receiving back. He can hit a hole and pick up extra yards, but he's not a talented receiver. Last year, Royce Freeman out-targeted him in the same exact offense. So I'm banking on not only the red zone touches for Gordon, but also the receiving work. I actually have Gordon as a top 10 running back in my projections.
Wow.
And his current ADP at RB19 is like a screaming value.
Hold on, Stoner. Just to ruin Josh's wide receiver.
Please.
Josh's wide receiver is Deontay Johnson. He's very, very high on Deontay Johnson. He has Deontay Johnson statted out as wide receiver 13 this year.
14. 14. I had to readjust after Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, you want to talk about craziness. Deontay Johnson at wide receiver 14.
They've got some crazy meth in Florida. That's the only explanation for Deontay Johnson at 13. Look,
he will outscore Juju Smith-Schuster this year.
Juju Smith is a top 7 receiver for me this year. You know why? Because he's looking for a contract because he wants to come back home. That kid doesn't want to be in Pittsburgh. He wants to be in L.A., playing for the Rams or the Chargers. I'm not sure which one yet, but he's going to be playing for one of those teams in 2021. And the only reason he gets there is because he finishes top 10 in 2020.
He has to eat.
That is clearly contingent on Big Ben staying healthy all year. And I'm just going to roll the dice. I'm all in on Juju Smith. Fuck Deontay Johnson. I'll take James Washington 7 rounds later.
Stunner, we might have to put a bet on that one, buddy.
So
okay, I'll bet you a Philly cheesesteak.
Done.
All right.
As an Eagles fan,
I do want to bring up because Stoner, you said that Juju's looking to come back west. Can we just sit here and imagine for a second? Either team, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and Juju Smith-Schuster, or the better one, in my opinion, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Juju Smith-Schuster with Eckler out of the backfield. With Hunter Henry. How about that?
I think it's going to be Keenan, Juju, Eckler, and Hunter. And Mike Williams will be moving on somewhere.
I love Mike Williams.
I do too, and he's going to do great in his second contract somewhere else.
He will. He will. All right, to the wide receivers now as the segue here. Stoner, your guy is Brandon Cooks, the new receiver out in Houston.
Easy. The new number 1 receiver out in Houston. Number 1 receiver out in Houston. Yep. Maybe not for the 4 games Will Fuller plays, but he'll be number 1 for the whole year.
The 4 quarters Will Fuller plays.
Yeah. Ryan.
Spread out over 4 games.
Yes.
Okay. Ryan, you have Terry McLaurin, F1, as your guy. And for me, I couldn't choose. So I went Hunter Renfrow, Alan Lazard, Darius Slayton, and CeeDee Lamb. I am balls out for all of them.
Jen knows I'm a big Lamb fan.
A lot of people are in on CeeDee Lamb, but the reason I put CeeDee Lamb here is that the fact people think that Amari Cooper is still the wide receiver 1 in that offense, and he's just simply not. He's just simply not.
I don't like Amari, dude.
Jen,
hold on.
So my wide receiver
let's ask the Cowboy fan to talk about their wide receivers.
Yeah, my wide receiver is Michael Gallup.
That's fair. That's fine.
Love him.
Yeah. He's just.
He's a stud.
Tell me more, Jennifer.
Gallup's a stud.
He actually, and he had over 1,000 yards last year. There's no reason he and Amari Cooper can't. I'm not saying Amari Cooper isn't still on paper. They're number 1. But he actually had more yards per game than Amari Cooper when he played. And he's just got a great chemistry with Dak Prescott. He's going to play a full season this year. And as far as CeeDee Lamb, listen, Randall Cobb had over 800 yards, 4 touchdowns playing out of the slot. There's no reason CeeDee Lamb can't replicate those numbers. Now, I know he's a rookie, so there's going to be less time to have the chemistry with he and Dak, but there's enough offense to go around in Dallas that all 3 of those guys could totally ball out. Amari Cooper,
and talent is talent, and CeeDee Lamb is still the number 1.
Still talented.
Rookie wide receiver coming in.
And they want him to be the future,
And with McCarthy there, they might actually throw the ball more. So
right, that's right.
Important.
That's true.
I think what Jen just said is spot on. That they want him to be the future. You don't get number 88 from Jerry Jones.
That's
for
right.
you to be the 3rd guy in the fucking in the rotation.
And there's a reason that they threw the ball and ran the football a lot last year. And I'm sorry, Jen, their defense is just garbage. So they're going to continually.
You better put some respect on Jalen Smith's name.
Hey, Jalen Smith was my IDP for the Cowboys.
He was.
So I have Jalen Smith.
Love that guy.
I have Jalen Smith over Leighton Vander Esch. So I'm all in on Jalen Smith.
You went to Notre Dame, of course you have him over everyone.
But
we're pandering to Stoner. This is what we do to our guests.
No, I am the ultimate homer. I will be honest, but I am still the ultimate homer. The only guys I root for in the NFL that are not like on the Niners are guys that went to Notre Dame. Like Jerome Bettis, one of my favorite running backs of all time. Or they're from Jersey, yeah. Jerome Bettis, one of my favorite running backs of all time. Tim Brown, I still find him to be a top 7 all-time receiver. People don't love him.
Oh,
Tim Brown was scary. Tim Brown was scary.
I'm the ultimate Homer fan, Jersey boy. Like,
I love it.
Yeah.
All right,
but I'm also a realist. Yeah.
That's fair. The guy that I wanted to highlight was actually talk about Ryan's guy in Terry McLaurin. So Ryan, new head coach. I'm all in on Dwayne Haskins this year. I think he has great value as a late round sleeper, especially in deep leagues. So why do you like McLaurin, Ryan?
I just think you're going to see passing volume go up. McLaurin was good last year on Redskins, who I think threw the ball 5th least in the NFL. They threw the ball over 600 times in Carolina last year, and I don't know that he's going to bring that. But even at 550 attempts, when you look, Rivera's offenses and Turner's offenses, and I know it's not Norv Turner, but it's his son, they tend to love their wide receiver 1. Yep. I was kind of looking, and if you look, they on average target their wide receiver 1 25% of their pass attempts in like the last 5 years. So you're looking anywhere from 110, which would be a great floor for a guy who you can get as the wide receiver 25 right now, up to 140 targets. And if he hits 140 targets, he's going to be a top 10 wide receiver that you're getting in the 5th round of your draft. He's the guy that if you wanted to go running back early and you're able to snag McLaurin as your wide receiver 2 in the 5th round, you're going to be very happy with your roster at the end of the year.
I love him. This dude played no less than 87% of snaps in a game last year.
And I mean, who else is there? And talk about negative game script. They're going to be playing the Cowboys all the time.
AGG, baby. AGG.
I love Gandy Golden.
The secondaries in the
Cowboys
NFC
defense
East
is trash, is what you're trying to say.
The secondaries in the NFC East consist of
what do you got in there, Jen? Is that tequila?
No, it's very healthy H2O. I make it special. It's 2 hydrogens to every oxygen.
I know that you drink the clear tequila.
Can you send me your recipe?
I've actually never heard someone refer to water as I make it special, 2 hydrogens, 1 oxygen.
That is awesome.
Yeah. That was a great line. I might steal that. That's a good line. All right, and then the last guys to go through here are the tight ends.
Only an Astros fan would cheat and take credit for something that's so long ago.
It's all about the spin. It's all about the spin.
I love how bad the Astros cheating scandal was, that it just completely overshadows what the Red Sox did with their Apple Watches. So to Astros, I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Going through the tight ends here, Stoner, your guy is Jack Doyle.
Jack Doyle, baby.
Good one.
Josh, and everyone on this show, Jonnu Smith.
Hayden Hurst.
Jonnu Smith.
Kittle.
Not Hayden Hurst? Nobody has Hayden Hurst?
I am a big Hayden Hurst guy this year.
No, Jen, tell us more about Hayden Hurst.
Come on, those vacated targets in Atlanta. Oh, no, I love it.
Most vacated targets in the league.
Yeah.
The ones that are going to Russell Gage?
No way. They're not going to Russell Gage. They're totally going to Hayden Hurst.
Because Hayden Hurst is going to get hurt by week 3.
No, come on.
I mean,
don't
look,
wish that on anybody.
That's what he does. He couldn't beat out Nick Boyle, but we're gonna
Nick
give
Boyle's
him
a blocking tight end.
Yeah.
I think it's Jaden Graham's season in Atlanta, but it's not going to happen until maybe week 6.
I don't know how you trade a 2nd and a 5th round pick for a guy that used to be a 1st round pick to then give it to a 3rd stringer.
I love the position of tight end in Atlanta. I mean, Austin Hooper was awesome there, but we're assuming that a dude who hasn't really shown us much in the last few years, aside from a few fucking blips, is gonna just jump into that spot and assume that role. Yeah. And I don't trust him. I don't trust Evan Ingram either. Like, if I'm drafting Caden Smith late round, and Jaden Graham late round as tight end targets because I know that those guys are going to get hurt. I know it.
You don't think there's any coincidence that the Orioles, this is what happens, the Ravens could have sent Hayden Hurst lots of places were in the market for him, and they decided to send him to Atlanta, a team they only face every 4 years. They know how good that guy is. He was stuck behind Mark Andrews and Nick Boyle, who's the blocking tight end. So I think Hayden Hurst, former first-round pick, he's absolutely going to eat in that Matt Ryan offense. Yes.
Well, it's not even a Matt Ryan offense. It's the fact that last year Matt Ryan sucked. So historically, this is the year that Matt Ryan's an MVP candidate.
Bingo.
Historically.
Right, but that's why everybody's drafting Calvin Ridley too early.
Yep.
And that's why people are sleeping on Russell Gage, because he's the dude that I think is going to consume a portion of Austin Hooper's target. Russell Gage is a dynamic kid at wide receiver 3 in an offense that is meant to be dynamic and that's going to throw the ball and score a bunch of points. Yeah. I like him.
Well, keep in mind too, the Falcons led the NFL in passing attempts. Like yes. They're not going to do that again. I mean,
when Brian Hill is your running back, you have to throw the ball. I get
exactly. If they're going like they went out, they got Gurley. They can run them till the legs fall off. So, they're not going to throw 684 times again.
Well, what if his legs fall off?
I don't know if they can run until his legs fall off.
And then they're stuck with Brian Hill as their running back again, right?
You mean the elite Brian Hill that everyone said to start against the Carolina Panthers last year?
Why are you trashing Quadre Olison? Come on.
Hey,
I
drafted him.
There too, Jed, but I don't want any of those guys.
I drafted
I'll take Russell Gage.
Hayden Hurst.
Laquan Treadwell.
At this point, we're just throwing out names on the Falcons.
Yeah. I'll just take Julio.
Okay. So back to the tight ends. That was the original part of this argument. Josh has Jonnu Smith as his guy. Ryan, you have the aforementioned Mark Andrews. Yes, and you want to talk about late round guys?
Mark Andrews is one of my guys. You can't pick a top 3 tight end to be one
Sure you can.
Guys.
If you're willing to take him over George Kittle, Zach Ertz, every single one of those guys.
And you'd be wrong fair. Every time. Every time you took anyone over George Kittle, you'd be wrong. we already established that earlier. We established that earlier. George, if you're looking, I'm clearly the hype man you need to be hiring.
Yes.
Let's go.
So, Stoner, you talked about late round guys you want to target. How about a guy that no one is talking about at tight end?
I already said Russell Gage.
No, tight end, not receiver.
That's right.
At tight end. So this guy at tight end 25, who is my guy, in PPR scoring, he sits at tight end 25, being taken after O.J. Howard, Greg Olsen, Chris Herndon, guys like that.
Is it Big Willie?
It's Ian Thomas.
Seattle?
It's Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph.
Everybody's all over Irv Smith.
Look, I love Irv Smith as a long-term play, but I can jump completely on board with Kyle Rudolph, and I know why you pointed him out to me, because he's from Notre Dame. I love Kyle Rudolph. I think we have to acknowledge that Justin Jefferson is stepping into a Diggs role.
Yes.
So there's going to be times when Kirk Cousins wants to shoot for comfortability. And Kyle Rudolph, if he didn't make Kirk Cousins comfortable in some of those catches he made last year, he's never going to make Kirk Cousins comfortable. I do agree that he's going to be a solid red zone target, but I don't know that, from 20 to 20, Kyle Rudolph's going to be running up and down the field with Irv Smith.
No, and that's fair. And I did some research, Josh. You'd be proud of me.
What?
To really drive
you
home.
Did research?
It was like 2 minutes. Don't get too excited, okay? I didn't do analytics. I strictly looked at stats. I hate analytics. I think they're stupid. Just look with your eyes. Tell me who's the better player.
What did Kyle Rudolph do last year, Alexa?
Stoner, you talked about Diggs is gone. Treadwell is also gone, who didn't vacate too many targets, but I believe he was up in like the mid-30s. So there's something there.
That's 30 too many. Let's be real.
It's definitely 30 too many. No, I agree. Treadwell's terrible. But there's 110 targets on the table. I don't think Justin Jefferson is going to take 110 targets in his rookie season. That's a lot for a rookie.
Maybe not in this rookie season because it's not a normal rookie season.
Very true.
Yeah.
So
I do think he is talented enough to be a 100-plus target guy.
Sure. But I think
too many question marks, too many variables right now.
Jefferson gets the majority of those targets, but I also think Rudolph takes some of those targets from him as well. Last year was by far his lowest targeted season since 2014.
How many targets did Kyle Rudolph have last year?
48.
Yeah. And how many catches?
His catch percent, I think it was 35. His catch percentage was actually very good. But
39.
39, thank you.
Yeah. Damn, he catches everything.
81%.
He caught everything.
Bro,
but then if you look at 2018, when Kirk Cousins is still there, he had 82 targets. So, like, the discrepancy is huge. There's no way Kyle Rudolph has another 48 target season. So it's also possible
that those targets that Justin Jefferson is not getting from Diggs get added to Irv Smith. So Irv Smith is still a good play and a solid late round tight end too as well. I think you're right.
One of the things I think Stoner hit on.
I think people are sleeping on Kyle Rudolph, and he is a late round dude that you can get for nothing.
He's literally free.
One of the things Stoner hit on the head is between the 20s, because he's been under 10 yards per reception. He caught 39 balls last year for 360 yards.
Yeah, not a lot of yards.
Yeah, you're not getting.
Yeah, with Rudolph, you're definitely banking on touchdowns.
You need them touchdowns.
Yes.
That's what you're banking on.
But the thing is, like, those touchdowns, I think still netted him like
still 9 yards to catch though. I mean, let's be honest.
Tight end 14 last year.
Yeah, tight end 14.
9 yards catch is great. I'll take it.
I think. You can take him as your backup, and he's easily outplaying his draft status right now. And I seriously think he has top 10 upside just because there's no way he repeats 48 targets again. There's no way he repeats that because he's had – I think that's the only time he's been under 50 targets.
He had 81 targets each of the last two seasons, 2017 and 2018. He had 81 targets exactly. So
that's my point.
I mean – I think his targets go up. I think his touchdowns he might lose a few. And it might stay the same depending on where his targets go. But I think there are a lot of vacated targets, like you said, and him being a veteran and him being someone that Kirk feels comfortable with, I do think he has value. And people are sleeping on him.
Yeah. All right, so we went through all of our guys.
Hold on. I want to hear about Blake Jarwin from Jen. Jen, what do you think about Blake?
I think he's fine. I think he's over-touted. I mean, he's not exactly going to pick up everything that Jason Witten left. They've got CeeDee Lamb now. They have all this. Of course, they're going to use him. I think he's fine.
But he was dope. Like before the draft, we talked about earlier, pre-draft. This guy was great, but I think pre-draft, Blake Jarwin, you're right, was a dude who was super hyped.
Yep.
People were super hyping, and they're like, they run a lot of red zone looks to the tight ends in Dallas. It's just not the way they play. So as far as like accumulating a lot of points, like I don't really think you're gonna. Blake Jarwin, he's the new star. He's fine. If you need to plug in a tight end, but I don't think you're gonna like find some major diamond in the rough that's gonna be top 5 tight end out of nowhere.
I like him in a best ball format where he'll pop. He'll have a couple big games.
He'll be
your tight end.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a lot of most like late tight end guys. Like that's just kind of what, after like the top 5, all of those guys are like, 3 or 4 good weeks that completely inflate their season. And, they're a tight end 1 by year's end. And you're just like, but the consistency is terrible. Like,
right. Right.
Well, you have to be prepared for that. If you're not getting any of those top 5 guys. But I don't know. I like the tight end position because of that. I like that it's not easy. Like wide receiver is so deep right now. You can go 7 rounds without taking a wide receiver. and still end up with two wide
Still get Marvin
receivers.
Jones and Mike Williams. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
That could be top 25 receivers in any given season. Like, so I like the fact that you could snag guys like Austin Hooper and Noah Fant and Hawkinson. And I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Jarwin either, but even a dude like Eric Ebron is probably going to score 8 touchdowns in Pittsburgh. I like the fun of the tight end position and that it's very, I don't know, it's crazy. It's a fucking wild card. And I also love the last couple of years. I think guys like Dawson Knox and Jay Sternberger, there's a lot of young talent that has come from that position. Like even Albert O and Cole Kmet and guys that were drafted this year, like these are talented football players, but they're still huge question marks. So
if you're willing to be active and stream the position, you can build a top 5 tight end before the season is over.
Yeah, and that's the stream master general right there. Listen to him when it comes to streaming tight end.
I love that, dude.
Also,
I love them.
But before we wrap up, I do just want to say all is right in the world when Jimmy Graham is tight end 28. I just want to stress that so much. That thank you everyone who's listened for the past 3 years and has stopped taking Jimmy Graham in as a top 10 tight end, because I have been screaming it from the rooftops that Jimmy Graham is a sorry excuse for an NFL player right now. And I still didn't understand why people took him last year as high as they did. And now he's tight end 28.
But he's got Mitch Trubisky as his quarterback now.
Or Nick Foles. Who knows?
Come on, it's going to be Mitch, right? I mean,
it'll be Mitch.
I'm
not buying the Nick Foles side.
The best case scenario for the Chicago Bears is Mitchell Trubisky comes in, plays
global
sick.
warfare.
They all get coronavirus.
No, listen.
The season is canceled.
Is that they find a DeLorean and draft Pat Mahomes?
Listen.
We have options here.
I mean,
Joe, come on.
Wasn't Back to the Future in 1985? So it would actually be nice if they found a DeLorean and went back to the 85 Bears.
There you go.
Jim McMahon would be a better option right now than Mitch.
The second.
Listen.
And he only has one eye that works.
Listen, Stoner, here's the best case scenario, right? Mitchell Trubisky starts 4 weeks. He does poorly. Nick Foles comes in with zero pressure to do anything good. Nick Foles takes them 12 straight wins. They win the division. Because you want to know why? Nick Foles is really good when there's no pressure. So if he comes in and fills in for Trubisky, the Bears are golden. Dude, mark my words.
Nick Foles won a Super Bowl against Tom Brady. I don't think any one of us can rightfully say that dude is no good without pressure. Because there's literally zero scenarios in the NFL that involve more pressure than a Super Bowl against Bill Belichick and Tom Brady.
Stoner, I'm not.
I hate.
Listen, I'm not talking about that.
Super Bowl, but I got to give Nick Foles a little bit of credit for that energy he brings. He's a little bit better.
I'm not saying that there was no pressure in that situation, but Foles specifically in that situation. If he loses that, everyone's like, oh, he's a backup quarterback. He lost. It's not like, it's like, okay, he lost. He's a backup quarterback. We knew going into this.
You've clearly never been to Philadelphia.
No, I understand.
Exactly.
Listen.
They would not have said that. They gave Mitch Williams death threats when he threw a great inside fastball that Joe Carter turned on and cranked to hit a home run to win the World Series.
You have to understand, Joe wasn't alive then.
Pitch, and
he
had to move out of New Jersey because of death threats. They would have retired Nick Foles if he didn't win that Super Bowl, dude. I'm telling you.
So
they would have retired him.
So two things. Look at Nick Foles' career. Look at the times where he's been announced as the opening day starter. Listen, look at the times he's been announced as the opening day starter. He sucked. He's been terrible. But when he fills in as a backup, he's really good because there's no pressure on him. And second, I'll be 22 on Tuesday, so I have no clue what that reference was.
Jesus.
So I don't know what that reference was. And also,
Google it. I love these people.
There was a reference.
Don't lump me into that, okay?
Listen, there was.
I have a beard older than the host of the show.
I just realized how I recognize Joe. I used to babysit him.
Oh.
So, just looking at this, right? So you want to show my age? Josh put in our private.
I don't, because I don't want to feel any worse about
it. Listen. Josh said in our private chat, check out the Twitch comment on Stoner, and I didn't know what it meant, but I saw it. It says, "Wow, Fantasy Stoner looks like Nappa went Super Saiyan in his 80s." I don't know what that means.
How do you not know Dragon Ball Z, dude? I didn't even watch the show, and even I know that.
Josh,
come on,
look at me. Do I look like a Dragon Ball Z fan?
I don't know. You sit and play video games all freaking day. Like,
yeah, that's video games.
Like Dragon Ball Z.
I don't watch Dragon Ball Z.
Sounds like a compliment to me.
It is a compliment.
My favorite was on the first episode I was ever on with you guys when we discovered that I've been playing fantasy football longer than Joe's been alive.
I've been playing fantasy football since I was 7.
Oh, fuck me too. Oh, God.
We're not going to...
When were you born? 97?
98.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I've been playing... Yeah. Do you know who Joey Galloway is?
I love Joey Galloway.
He's the first one that made me hate fantasy football. When he
all right, so ready? My first year of fantasy football...
Taylor was the second one.
Yeah. My first year of fantasy football was... Carson Palmer on the Bengals, Frank Gore, and Lamont Jordan for the Raiders. That was Lamont Jordan. That was my first year of fantasy football. My team was
auto-drafted. That was before he got overpaid by the Jets.
Yes, very overpaid. But no, that was my first year of fantasy football, to put that into perspective for people. I believe I was 7 years old. So
for anybody listening and anybody on the show, if Joe made you feel old, we sincerely apologize.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, I sincerely empathize. Fuck yeah.
It's okay. I might just add an extra hydrogen next time.
There we go.
Add 3 or 4 things of hydrogen. Yes.
I think you should just go with the tequila next time, Jennifer.
All right, and that's all we have.
We know what happens if you have too many.
Yeah. Everyone, it's a longer show, but it was worth it. That's all we have. Stoner and Jen. Thanks for crashing, Jen. Stoner, thanks for being here.
Thanks for inviting us.
I always tend to drag the show out a little.
That's okay.
It was
worth it.
Well worth it. Of course.
I'm always on time, but I always stay longer than I should.
That's okay. We always want you here. You're always welcome here. And
hey, man.
Same to you, Jen.
Yes.
Hey, talk to me more about what's happening the next few weeks, because I know this is very important.
Wow.
We already talked about the ladies taking over, but I think we need to talk about it again before we round off.
I do want to point out that wasn't scripted. Stoner just threw that out there, so I absolutely love that.
He's amazing.
Yes.
You guys know that I am all about like equality and making sure that shit is the way it should be in the world. So yeah, I think what you guys are doing is great, and I told you that right from the start. The second I heard about it, I was stoked on it. I even said, "Hey, I'm friends with these people." And Faith had already reached out to everyone.
Yeah, huge shout out to Faith, because out of the, I believe the 9 guests that we have for these shows, she booked 7 of them.
Yeah,
so
she's
killing it. She's killing it.
Absolutely killing it.
She's awesome. She's good people, and I think it's.
Hell, I remember 3 months ago when she only had 50 followers on Twitter. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, she's killing it.
Yeah, she's doing good work. She still hits me up for advice on some of her drafts and stuff, but not as much as she used to. She learned quickly.
She did. And per Stoner's request, we're going to go through this one more time. So the next 4 weeks of shows from August 12th to September 2nd, myself, Josh, and Ryan take a back seat to Stepmom Lauren and Leap of Faith. Yes, thank God.
It'll be a lot more aesthetically pleasing, I promise.
Yes.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
I get to sit back and do nothing. I cannot wait.
This is not a knock on you, Josh. This is more just because.
They're so much more entertaining than we are. I can promise 100%. You that.
And they're much more aesthetically pleasing than I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, as already mentioned, we have Liz Loza for next week's show. Rosalie Michaels also joins the show, and we have one more tandem duo of guests that will be announced on Friday. We don't want to spoil it, so stay tuned to the social channels.
I have a feeling I know who that is, but For those that don't know Rosalie, she's at the Fantasy Girl, I think.
And DraftKings, yep.
Twitter. Yeah,
Yep.
she does stuff with DraftKings, and she's been doing some betting stuff.
Yep.
Jen, when are you going to be on?
The 19th, I believe.
Correct, yeah.
We're also going to have Lindsay OK on that show as well.
Yes, Jen and Lindsay. Killer
Lindsay
show.
is honestly one of my 5 favorite people on Twitter and any social media.
She's amazing.
She's awesome.
She literally fucking deflects trolls better than anyone I've ever seen.
Yeah, I call her the clapback queen.
She just
That's
Yeah.
exactly what she
Like,
does. It's
her
fantastic.
personality is phenomenal for me. The way that she does, you're right. But it's how she claps back
Yep.
at him and is
Mhm.
intelligent and smart and funny. And I
Yep.
think it's just goddamn brilliant. And she is 100% someone that I want to be friends with. We actually had planned, I think we talked in December or January, that she was supposed to come out to Southern California in 2020. And we talked about going out for drinks, but obviously big
Stupid
Rona happened.
pandemic.
So
Yes.
Lindsay, I'm gonna come listen while you're on the show, and we'll make
love it.
plans. We'll make plans for 2021. Since the
So
world's
those,
over.
those are the first 2 shows. We won't spoil the 3rd and the 4th, but if you listen to the show, you know who's already going to be on there. If you've seen the graphics, you know who's already going to be on there. But
Where
Go ahead.
can we do the auction stuff and
You-
donate the money?
you're
and
beating
shit
me
like
to the
that?
punch here, man. So you can go to
I do.
clubfantasyffl.com, and on there, there's going to be right in the main section is going to say WOFF raffle. Click on that. You can see all the rules and all that stuff, but we're going to switch each item every single week. So from this point up until, I believe, 5 o'clock Eastern on August 12th, that'll be the last chance you can get to throw in for the Fantasy Footballers Ultimate Draft Kit, the signed Blake Jarwin jersey, and the signed Robert Smith jersey. So you can go to clubfantasyffl.com/WOFF-raffle. From there, you can choose which one you want. It'll take you directly to the GoFundMe page. And then from there,
When can I win my Frank Gore signed jersey is the real question.
the Frank Gore
I believe
jersey-
that's on 8/19. We're raffling that. So between
Oh,
8/12,
Yes.
so between 8/12 and 8/19, that's
Grandpa Gore.
when that's the bidding window. So
And also the winners.
Hey.
So the winner of the UDK Jarwin and Smith jersey will be announced on our 8/12 show. So stay tuned. They're going to be announced during that show. So be sure to listen.
And
when
bid this week.
bid
Yes.
this week.
Bid
Yes.
this
And keep
week,
in mind
yes.
too, if you don't want any of these prizes, that's okay. We
Perfectly
still
fine.
donate,
encourage
yeah.
donations. Still donate.
Yes.
It's going to a great cause, raising awareness for women, not only in sports, but just in careers in general.
Our
Yes.
goal is 1,000 for the month, but of course we want to absolutely freaking smash that goal.
I would pay that for Frank Gore signed jersey. Let's go.
So yes,
Honestly.
so that is that's what's on tap right now. But yeah, just super excited for the next 4
Honestly,
week of
fans
shows.
of the U, Niner Nation, you're not going to outbid me for a Frank Gore jersey. So just
And-
don't even try.
And here's the thing. So let's say
Do
right.
try.
So
Try.
the-
Please
the-
try.
Yeah, do try.
yes. So if
Keep in
you're-
mind, Stoner, it's a raffle, not an auction.
it's a raffle.
So
yes.
you're
But
bidding
he-
to get your name drawn for it.
But here's what you can do, right? You can put as many raffle tickets as you want in there. So if you're a Cowboys fan like Jen is, and you really want a Blake Jarwin jersey,
No one
and you can.
wants it. Linda wants it. Linda, Linda. I know Linda.
Linda does want it. Linda's happy about it. But say so. It's currently it's $15 to raffle. You can put in $45, and your name will be put in 3 times for the Blake Jarwin jersey. So your chances increase. Okay.
I
So-
get what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to put $1,000 on a Frank Gore jersey. I'm just going to win it.
Your chances are going
One
to
for
be
every
pretty
year
damn
he's
good.
played in the NFL.
Yep.
Yes.
Respect, Jen. I love that.
Respect.
Because you're not wrong.
All right, and
But
that is
Jason
all we
Witten is
have.
Right behind him. I'll bet $9.98 for Jay Witten.
And before we go, Again, Jen, Stoner, thank you guys. And Jen, before we wrap up, I know we're going to have you back in a couple of weeks, but for the time being, especially for fantasy baseball, where can everybody find you?
Oh, yeah, you can find me online, guys, at fantasyalarm.com. I'm doing videos for them, live streams for them. I write for the Jim Bowden MLB Draft Guide and for the NFL Draft Guide. And I also am the co-host of Alarm After Hours, which is on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio on Friday nights. You can stream it online, get it on the app, or if you have Sirius, it's Sirius 210 XM87.
Not listening, because who knows what happens between 4 and 8 p.m. on a Friday. So by the time she gets on air, a wild card, dude. It's a variable.
You need to know. And we help you with your bets. We help you with your seasonal. We do all the sports, so it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a 2-hour show.
And baseball's back, dude. So even if you haven't jumped in a league and you want to do some daily stuff,
yep.
I mean, it'll keep you occupied. It'll keep you occupied until the season starts.
Heck yeah. Stoner, where can everyone find you?
Wherever the fuck they want, man. Fantasy FB Stoner on Twitter, same on Instagram. Whatever you need, hit my DMs.
Shout out to the Undroppables at the Undroppables.
At the Undroppables.
Cutlass.com. Yep.
Heck yeah.
Selfish, so I always
love the guys over there.
At the Undroppables, Cutlass.com. We got a whole crew of dudes that are putting out good content, rankings. We got team reviews for what's happened in the off season. We're planning Undroppables TV, some video content. We got Unscripted with Paulie, Term, and Beezy, our new podcast. It's about 6 episodes deep, and it's fantastic. It's the hottest podcast on the web right now. Yeah, we're just doing good shit. I don't know. You know me. I'm on Twitter, bro.
You're in digital marketing, man. Come on, pimp your shit.
I hate it, dude. That's the funniest thing. Like, I'm really good at it, but I hate promoting myself like that. It feels cocky. But you guys know where I'm at. Like
Fantasy Stoner, the one and only, and you can follow.
Waiting to ride a tandem bike after drunk brunch.
That's right.
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah, I told her I wasn't riding a tandem bike. I'm down for drunk brunch.
No tandem bike though.
No, because the person in front is always the one doing all the work. Every time I see a tandem bike, the person sitting in the back isn't pedaling. They're just sitting there on their phone. And I'm not going to be that guy that's riding a bike for 2 because I don't even want to ride a bike for 1.
I love it. That's fair. You can follow Ryan at the Fantasy 5, Josh at the One Hudsonian, myself at Joe_Zolo, and you can follow Club Fantasy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Club Fantasy FFL. The URL is clubfantasyffl.com. Be sure head there.
We will make sure that we tweet out some links so you can put your names in on these raffles and get your bids in.
The Women of Fantasy Football raffle. Go to the website, check it out. You can find it on GoFundMe as well. Just search Women of Fantasy Football or search Club Fantasy. Always remember, defense wins championships. Offense wins fantasy football. Next week is the beginning of the first annual Women of Fantasy Football show with Liz Loza from Yahoo Fantasy, Rosalie Michaels from DraftKings, and 2 yet-to-be-mentioned ladies who everyone is going to geek out for on Friday, August 7th. Be sure, stay tuned for that. We will see you then.